Pyramid's Agile Exporter makes it easy to export documents out of a FileNet image services or content engine repository. First, I'm going to show you how an operator would export images out of a repository, and then I'll demonstrate how easy it is to choose and change the format and packaging of those documents. First, what I need to do is I need to select which documents I'm going to be exporting out. For this demonstration, I'm going to be using load numbers. So this will be documents associated with a certain load number. However, this could just as easily be a part number, a customer ID, a job ID, any kind of identification for an individual document. But for this demo, like I said, I'm going to be using load numbers. So what I've created is a simple text file that lists 3 different loan numbers. And I'm going to save that. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring up the manual interface for the Agile Exporter. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select the file that has my list of loan numbers. Then I'm going to add that to my export queue. What I'm doing right now is that I'm going to be giving the name of a folder to put these files once they're exported. Down here under post-export process, this is where we choose our packaging for the files. As you can imagine, most export tools on the market when they export your files might put them out in a format such as this. It doesn't make the format very useful to either a user or probably not to most machines and have to be modified somehow. But what our tool does is it gives you the ability to pre-format as you export. So I'm going to choose the process called loan folder. I'm going to save that, and I'm just going to hit start. And this is going to download the documents and will notify me when the download and the packaging is complete. Now that's complete, I can go to the folder, and the folder that it exports to can be configured to be any shared directory or any directory on the server. And you can see here, instead of a format where nothing makes sense, we can put out a format where files are sorted into a folder named after its loan number and then given a name. That makes it a little easier to identify them. This makes the format very more human readable. It would be a format if you were expecting to deliver the documents to somebody who had to review them manually. This is a pretty simple case, and Pyramid has several pre-made export processes that are already made and can be used immediately. However, the power of the Agile Exporter doesn't stop there. It lets you create your own post-export processes that you can modify for your unique uses. What I've now brought up is what we call the Pep Builder. This allows you to create or modify existing post-export processes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the loan folder Pep, and I'm going to modify it. As you can see, the existing format already put all the documents into a folder named after its loan number and then gave it a doc type, named it after its doc type. But I want to do a few more things to make this loan folder process a little more useful. One of the first things I want to do is I actually want to convert all of my documents from TIFF to PDF. while TIFF is a very common format to be used in image repositories, PDF is a more universal format that I might want to deliver to an internal auditor or an external customer. While there are several advanced options that we have here, we also have some very simple ones where we can choose the format that we want. So we could go TIFF or PDF. Say we want to convert everything to TIFF or everything to PDF. For this demo, I'm just going to choose PDF. So now what we have is a Pep tool that will put everything into their loan folders as it did before, and will convert the documents to PDF. But there's a couple more things I might want to do. One of those things is I want to remove certain documents. Even though documents might belong to a certain loan that I'm exporting, there might be certain types I don't want exported. These might be internal documents that you don't want to share with the outside world, or that just might be cluttering up an internal audit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say all documents that have the doc type property equal to appraisal I want removed from my export. And I want that process to run before sorting. Makes it run a little more efficiently. Something else that I want to do is I want to create a manifest file. Let's say you want to create a CSV file that lists all the documents that you're exporting. You might want to keep this as a record of your export. So I give the process a name, and I'm going to give my manifest file a name. And I've given several options to make it easy to format a manifest file. This header template, for instance, will be at the top of the document and will be printed only once. So since I'm creating a CSV file, I want to give a header to the information I'm going to present. And for document template, I want to put in there the properties of the documents I'm going to be exporting. And so the document template will be something that it adds to the manifest for every file that is exported. And for this, all I want is the properties of the documents. So I want the loan number of my documents. Again, this could be any property of any system that you might be using. Could be username, customer first name, last name, anything that you store on a document level we could add here. So I have my manifest file. I don't want a space in my file. So now my export process will remove any appraisal documents, sort them, convert them to PDF, and then we'll create a manifest file. A very common thing that people want to do is to actually zip up and export. This makes it easier to deliver to a customer or to an internal customer. So we have as an archive operation. I give the archive a name. So I want it to be called delivery, and I want it to archive everything at the root. We have the ability to copy documents and to keep them after zipping up. I don't want to do that. So now after the manifest file is created, we're going to create a zip file. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to save this, and I'm already saving it in the directory that we save all of our PEP formats, so that this will now be immediately usable for an export operator. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do another export as if I'm the export operator. At this point I could choose a different text file, but just for comparison I'm going to use the same loan number list that I did last time. Add it to my queue. I'm going to give it the name of a folder that's going to create, and I'm going to once again choose my loan folder as my PEP. It's asking me if I want to create this folder. Yes. Save it to my queue, and I'm going to start. Now while this is running, I should mention that this interface that you're seeing is only one way to activate the Pyramid Agile Exporter. There are interfaces so that we can have back-end processes submit jobs. It could submit loan numbers and a folder and a PEP to use to the exporter, and it can run that way. Now that the export is complete, let's take a look at the output. First, we're just going to bring up folders so we can compare the output. Demo 1. As you can see, as part of the archive, everything has been put into a zip file. So let's examine that zip file. We can see the zip file has our loan folders just as before. We can see that we have our manifest file. Let's see if we can open that. As you can see, we see our header, and we see the loan number and doc type and ID of each of the documents that were exported. And one last thing to check is to see if we do have PDFs, and we do. And the other thing we added was removing the appraisals. If I check back on our original, appraisals existed for loan 08 and loan 5040. So if I check those, there's no appraisal in here, and there's no appraisal in here. And that's how we can modify an existing PEP to be put out in a format of your desire. This video has meant to only give a brief introduction of some of the power of the exporting tool and the Pep Builder. Some other options that I didn't demonstrate with this is the ability to update properties. So we have a meta update property where we can map, either add new metadata or map metadata. So for instance, if you want to change the document type from your type to a customer type that you're delivering it to, you could do that. Or if you want to change from a existing loan number to an investor loan number, that'd be one way. Another example of that usage. One of the power of the meta update tool is that you actually have the ability to connect to a database to update that metadata. With that, this concludes my brief demonstration of the ease and power of the Pyramid Agile Exporter tool.